Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, this Anglo Teen stabbed an Hispanic teen at a high school in Texas. The knife was brought to school by this Caucasian teen that you see on this image. The hypocrisy is blurring. Yes, the hypocrisy is blurring. See, right now, there is a mental manipulation, demonic type of agenda going on with the Karmelo Anthony situation, and that with the Austin Metcalf scenario, in which a black teen in Frisco, Texas, 4.0 student, academic greatness, great sports person, a non-dysfunctional family dynamic, nice neighborhoods. Now, that don't mean you got common sense and you a good person. That's because you stay in those places. But we're saying this situation, numbers of personnel didn't talk about bad things about Karmelo Anthony. Said they said he was a good kid, etc., etc. At the same time, because he was defending himself from Austin Metcalf and his twin brother that was at that track meet in Frisco, Texas, a couple of weeks ago. And Austin Metcalf had the damn nerve, the 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, the Caucasian fellow, that had the nerve to go try to tell Karmelo Anthony that he had no right to sit under a tent when the weather situation was going on. Even though Austin Metcalf, he was not there to run track or anything. He was there as just like other people were there as well. And then Karmelo Anthony was there as well, that he had all rights to be there, all rights to be under the their tent. And the Austin Metcalf had the Anglo privilegeness, the ones that applies to, and he thought that he can just tell Karmelo Anthony get up and leave like this is some kind of 1960s segregation, form of segregation. And so when Austin Metcalf put his little paws and assaulted Karmelo Anthony, Karmelo Anthony told him, "Hey, don't touch me." And Austin Metcalf decided to do it anyway. That's assault. And so when Karmelo Anthony had some legal size pocket knife, unless something changes, he pulls out the legal size pocket knife or whatever bag, and he jukes Austin Metcalf, self-defense, because it has been relayed that it is allegedly that Austin Metcalf and perhaps his twin brother was trying to beat down Karmelo Anthony, right? Two big old fellows playing the football team, etc. But at the same time, he can't. Karmelo Anthony not supposed to practice self-defense. And I'll relay this over because there was another stabbing several months ago that many people had not even heard of, 2022. And a trial is just happening in April 2025 about this this other Caucasian teen, as you see on the image in front of you, who sat there, was in a high school in Texas, who who attended in 2022 this high school in Texas and got into a fight with this Hispanic fellow at the high school in Texas. And things happened. They were in a bathroom. All of a sudden, Casey Allison pulls out a knife, jukes the Hispanic fellow. You got people sitting there saying, well, that's self-defense, right? But at the same time, at this point, but there's no gigantic outrage of the hypocrisy where Casey Allison, who was 18 at that time, juked the Hispanic kid who was 18 at that time at the high school in Texas. Unfortunately, the Hispanic kid lost his life when he got juked himself and stuff like that. But you don't hear anything, you don't hear no gigantic uproar from numbers of personnel within the plant-based culture of, oh my goodness, Casey Allison, he had all rights to defend himself against that other boy who was trying to attack him. Nope, you don't hear anything like that, do you? The hypocrisy is blurring real. Yes. And so before I go into the article and some video, I also did another infocast about a black teen who was about 14 and 15 years old up at one of those LA County, LA city high schools. And numbers of Hispanic kids on the high school campus at this LA high school jumped on a black teen who was minding his business. You didn't hear a lot of uproar about that, did you? Many people, this is probably the first time you heard about that story. And that happened around December 2024. And then it happened several months before that. The same teen by numbers of Hispanics jumping on the teen boy. And then the crazy part is, one of those times, I think it was maybe the second time perhaps, where on campus, several of the Hispanic kids were sitting there attacking the black kid, and somebody pulled out a knife, and all of a sudden, you know, something happened. A couple of kids were stabbed, but how in the world, all of a sudden, the black kid was arrested? Man, what the mess, right? So if anybody's interested in that story, it's in the description of this podcast. And depending on how the time, unless I forget, I'll show you just a piece of that. The hypocrisy is very real. You didn't hear a peep out of even a piece of numbers of personnel within the plant-based culture jumping up and down about the black teen who trying to protect himself, self-defense, at that LA school, right? Being jumped on by several Hispanics, and all of a sudden, one of those Hispanics had a butcher knife, and the black teen was just trying to protect himself, and all of a sudden, whatever it is, all of a sudden, two teens got juked. But again, they sit there and arrest the black teen who was trying to defend himself from numbers of the violent Hispanic kids who was jumping on the teen for no reason. Where's that old black and brown coalition as well? Oh, where's that brown on with black coalition on that? Numbers of them was very quiet. You see this hypocrisy going on, right? But let me go ahead and share this screen with this particular first one. One moment here. Yeah, I think it's right here. So as you see on this part, student admits, on the right side, a Caucasian student admits to fatally stabbing a classmate, an Hispanic classmate on the left side, inside a high school bathroom. An affidavit says, Belton, Texas, a high school student in Texas, the Caucasian teen in Texas, admitted to these enforcement people. He stabbed and unalive his classmate. Let me read this again. The Caucasian teen at that Belton High School in 2022, you see it, 2022 up here, admitted to, you see the Higher investigative personnel, he stabbed and unalive the Hispanic classmate inside the school bathroom. Where is the gigantic uproar from numbers of ones within the Hispanic culture? Oh my goodness, Casey Allison was a Caucasian teen that juke the 18-year-old Luis Ramirez Jr. juked him in a bathroom at Belton High School. Where's all uproar for that? Of course not, because it's a natural privilege. So ones within certain parts of Panama's culture to be right. Oh, that Caucasian teen, he had a right to defend himself about that violent teammate. He was trying to attack the innocent, wholesome, angelic Casey Allison, right? On the right side. Look at that. Look at the peevishness of eyes of that. See, and where's the gigantic uproar from numbers of Hispanics? Certain type of, because these had to be predominantly Mexican version of Hispanics in a situation that the kid that got juked, Jose Luis Ramirez, where's the gigantic uproar from numbers of Mexicans on this? They say, oh my goodness, those Caucasian people, they're so violent. They better stop picking on us. You haven't heard it, have you? Nope. Right? But at the same time, Karmelo Anthony, by numbers of people within the Panamanian culture, want him castrated, want him lynched for sitting there protecting himself because he had a legal-sized pocket knife, right? And how many people at that track meet, numbers of them had a pocket-sized legal knife? How many of them had some, say for instance, some pepper spray? How many some of the ones had something on their bodies that some people say, oh my goodness, is that a weapon? I'm not talking about the boom boom piece of equipment. But you see, this is hypocrisy. And it's like the whole dang point is who put whose hands on who first. Karmelo Anthony didn't put his hands on Austin Metcalf. Austin Metcalf, one of the twins, put his damn assaulting paws on Karmelo Anthony. And you got numbers of personnel within the Panamanian culture showing numbers of their racial clan-ass mentality, generation grand mentality toward Karmelo Anthony and the family. Even though, again, Austin Metcalf put his damn assaulting hands on Karmelo Anthony first. Boy, you're talking about some damn hypocrisy. Continuing, the stabbing happened Tuesday at Belton High School, about 70 miles northeast of Austin. Belton enforcement arrived at the school and said that they found Ramirez with large puncture wounds to his chest. Ramirez was transported to the hospital in critical condition where he was later pronounced unalived at the hospital. Enforcement said they learned Ramirez sustained multiple stab and slashes and injuries along his chest, back, legs, and arm. Oh my goodness. Witnesses at the scene identified the student, the Caucasian teen, Casey Allison, as the student who stabbed Ramirez, as Allison, who allegedly fled from the campus. The affidavit states that enforcement also obtained video that shows Casey Allison, the Caucasian teen, brandishing a knife and stabbing Ramirez during a fight in a school bathroom. But at the same freaking time, you got people that want to sit there and go off on Karmelo Anthony and his family for him protecting himself in self-defense. Do you see the hypocrisy? But you don't hear some gigantic uproar again by numbers of personnel within the plant-based culture jumping up and down about Kason Allison sitting there juking that Hispanic fellow at that Belton High School, which unfortunately he became unalive. Do you see the natural clandness on certain ones within the plant-based culture? This demonicness. They're quiet on the starving by Casey Allison, who was 18 at that time, 2022, starving to unalivement Ramirez, the 18-year-old Hispanic teen at Belton High School in Texas, and you don't sit there and hear a peep out of numbers of personnel within the plant-based culture once applies to jumping up and down about, oh my goodness, well, yes, it was self-defense. You see how the hypocrisy. And you don't hear numbers of gigantic amount of Mexicans. Says Ramirez will be considered probably Mexican. You didn't hear a lot. You didn't hear a lot of then. You don't hear now a lot of Mexicans jumping up and down about this. Saying, "Oh my goodness, the Caucasian teen was violent." He's sitting there. You know, they always picking on Mexicans. Oh my god, you didn't hear no Mexican gigantic jumping up and down about this. No, they didn't say, "Oh my goodness, we're tired of Caucasian people picking on us." Nope. Because there are certain ones of Mexicans, the ones applies to, that know their places in Americanism, and they know who to sit there and pick on. And how many damn times or how many examples, right? Of have been certain numbers of Hispanics who have sit there and showed their racial hatred toward American blacks. Whole different topic, but people expect a brown and black coalition. Get that out of here. But let me go ahead and play this particular first video as well, relating to this topic as well. One moment here. This is, I think it was day one of the trial situation. If I don't forget, I want to read some of these comments on this newscast. And I'm utilizing this as a fair usage doctrine, by the way.
Part of the highly anticipated trial for Kason Allison, who is charged with murder in the stabbing of Joe Ramirez at Belton High School back in May of 2022.
News 10's Isabella Quintanilla was in the courtroom all day today. She joins us now outside the Bell County Justice Center with more from the first day of the trial. Isabella.
Yes, that's right, Lauren and Gordon. The 156th District Court was packed today with families, friends, witnesses, and others, all who have been waiting nearly 3 years to learn the fate of now 21-year-old Kason Allison. We first heard from the state prosecutors who are charging Kason Allison with murder, saying he was intentionally cutting and stabbing Joe Ramirez, to which Allison pleaded not guilty. His defense attorneys then gave their opening statement implying it was self-defense. Defense attorney Zachary Boyd told the jury, quote, Kason was in the fight for his life, where he was jumped by 5 friends, end quote. We heard from 5 state witnesses today, including a 911 record custodian, the Belton ISD Director of Safety and Security, 2 teachers who saw the aftermath of the stabbing, and the school nurse. At the start of the trial, they played 5 911 calls from 2 staff members, 2 students, and a parent. In one of those calls, a girl identified Kason, claiming she saw him running through the parking lot with a bloody nose. They then played security footage from several cameras showing Joe and 3 others walking into a bathroom, Kason and another boy walking in shortly after. 5 boys, including Joe, then ran out of the bathroom and split up, with Kason once again running out shortly after. We also saw footage of Joe running down the main hallway, bleeding onto the floor and then collapsing. Blood immediately began to pool as teachers and staff quickly surrounded him. Many of Joe's family and friends were in tears as they watched this all play out. One witness, the first to get to Joe, said, quote, his breathing was rapid and shallow. It appeared to me as if he had a punctured lung. Another witness, the school nurse, said they gasped when they cut open Joe's shirt, finding a gaping wound across his left chest. She also shared that a student that had been in the bathroom was brought to the nurse's office and was on the phone with his mom saying, quote, Kason stabbed Joe. Now at this time, we are still here, quote, Kason stabbed Joe, and was on the phone with his mom saying, quote, Kason stabbed Joe. The nurse's office and was on the phone with his mom saying, quote, Kaysen stabbed Joe. Now,
Mm, 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 mm. So remember, and this was at Belton High School, 2022. Kaysen Allison stabbed Ramirez in the chest. And that article I read you, allegedly, multiple times. And so Kaysen Allison, the violent Caucasian teen, 18 years old at that time, brought a knife to the high school. Kaysen Allison brought the knife to high school. But at the same damn time, right? Karmelo Anthony has a legal size pocket knife, unless they can show something totally damn different. He wasn't waving the damn thing around. He didn't go to the Frisco, Texas, not on the damn campus track, looking for Austin Metcalf to try to cause problems with nobody in any logical part, unless there's some kind of mental manipulation tactics. They cannot damn say, because they have witnesses that was also saying no. Karmelo Anthony was sitting there minding his damn business. Just like anybody else, they's minding their freaking business. And you had a witness saying that his daughter was sitting there by the tent as well. And they didn't say anything about Karmelo Anthony sitting there pulling some knife out and stabbing Austin Metcalf. It was like, no, Austin Metcalf was sitting there, had his damn privileged ass little Anglo privileged hands, and his mentality thought he can tell and bully the black teen, 4.0, great background, academics, great family background. Numbers of people, friends loved him. They say anything bad about him. And Austin Metcalf thought he could sit there and just tell this black teen to get the hell up and get out, move. Who in the hell did he think he was? And then all of a sudden, when Karmelo Anthony told him, do not touch him, what part of do not touch him does these racial racism terrorist clan members not understand? Right? Because they can't. Because they're generationally ingrained, clan ingrained. Right? And even unfortunately, there are some coon numbers of black folks, unfortunately. You like you coons. Right? I mean, it's like, wow. So Karmelo Anthony sit there, self-defense, with a pocket knife in his situation, told Austin Metcalf, do not touch him prior to removing the legal size pocket knife out of the bag. He did it anyway. Austin Metcalf put his hands on him anyway. Karmelo Anthony pulled out whatever the legal size pocket knife and utilized that in a self-defense purpose, right? And because he was in fear of his damn life, and it is alleged that possibly that both of those twins wasn't trying to jump on him. But he's supposed to put his dukes up. Oh, so why didn't Kaysen Allison, when he was being jumped by supposedly Ramirez, the Hispanic, why didn't Kaysen Allison put his dukes up and fight? Huh? Instead of pull out a pull out a knife and juking Ramirez, the Hispanic, in a high school bathroom in Texas. You see the damn hypocrisy. Let's go ahead and play the second video on the second trial date on this situation. Oh, shucks, before I forget, let me read some of these comments. I almost forgot. I wanted to read some of these comments on that day one part. Almost forgot. Let me make sure. This is can be shown. Okay, that's good. So let me show. Look at some of these comments. Make sure on the screen can be shown. Okay, look at these comments here. Why is this the first time I have ever heard about this? Meanwhile, in the Karmelo Anthony story is everywhere because you have some demonic version of certain parts of main media. They're doing on purpose. They're trying to bring racial racism toward Karmelo Anthony's family while at the same time protecting white privilege or certain castes of white privilege, right? For Austin Metcalf, right? Who put his damn assaulting hands on Karmelo Anthony first, right? So this should be national news like Karmelo, the usual suspects. Looks like hypocrisy. Where did all that Karmelo and where did all that Karmelo energy go? Where's the energy? Where's the unalivement threats? Because Karmelo didn't do all that. He shouldn't have been the other comment you see is he shouldn't have been on school grounds with a knife. Talking about Case Allison in this topic. The fact that he had that knife at school says he was looking for trouble, of course. And numbers of a person that was in the predominant culture are quiet on this. The ones who have seen this, quiet. The hypocrisy, the blurring out of this, right? I wonder why this isn't national news. They're offended about everything, ashamed of nothing. I'm going now hunks. I need the same level of energy you have for Karmelo. Wow, where is the outrage like in the Karmelo Anthony case? Where did Casey have a knife at school? That's the point. Casey Allison had a freaking knife on campus at Belton High School and stabbed the Hispanic fellow Ramirez, 18, in a bathroom. But no national outrage at that. Do you see how certain ones within the predominant culture and various parts of main media, how demonic numbers of them are? Right? Made sure to minimize this on that. If he had a knife on school grounds and unalived someone, then he needs to do a minimum of 25 years imprisonment. Whereas Nancy Grace on this? Yes, because there are some people who know they're very demonic in their anti-American blackness, right? But they're very quiet when people within that person's cultures sitting there do these heinous crimes. Oh, they very quiet on that, and it's on purpose. But see, there's some blame towards certain ones American black, because it's like American blacks need to get their own damn version of their own main media-ness. My God, I mean, how long does not? I mean, logical sense it does not even seem not to be understanding, right? You must have a main media-ness within American blacks who control the narrative. Oh, golly. And supremacists is very weird. They say, "Oh, we're not gonna let those Negroes do any damn thing." Instead of more American blacks saying, "To hell with y'all! You ain't gonna tell us what to damn do. We got the resources. We will sit there and get that." Who the hell people think they are to sit there and only be the monopolized on main media-ness? Boy, I'm telling you, man. This dude walked into the same bathroom as someone he had previous conflicts with and stabbed the Hispanic victim not once, but 4 times. He was 18 as well. This happened in 2022. Where's the Crocos and their outrage about this? Why he had a knife on school grounds? It's a culture issue. This didn't make the news. Why did he bring a knife to school? Usual suspects. No energy from the Anglo Mayo folks about this. You can hear the crickets. Whatever happened to fighting with your hands instead of a knife or boom piece of equipment? See, where is the outrage for this? BS. Exactly. You see the hypocrisy of this, right? The hypocrisy is very real. And to Jerome Davis, of course, who says Austin Metcalf should have kept his hands to himself. Yes, he should. And that's where the hypocrisy of it, right? And you got people within various parts of predominant culture, 21 applies to, that just refuse to sit there and acknowledge that the Austin Metcalf should have kept his hands to himself, right? They can't do that. But what did I sit there and show you on the trial video 1 of Casey Allison? That he sit there and brought a knife to Belton High School in 2022 and juked the Hispanic fellow at school in the bathroom. And there was no national outrage at that. Not by numbers of person that was in predominant culture, and not by numbers of Mexicans within Hispanicism, because Ramirez would have been Mexican, and you don't have no outrage from numbers of Mexican groups about this, right? Because there are people who know their places in this society, right? Because if this was a black male who did this to an Hispanic. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, see this anti-Hispanic by black people. You see how this game goes. So let me go ahead and play this. Oh, what's this here? And Brother Jerome Davis says this. I know the Metcalf family is lying. Well, yes, they know. They know what they're the little demonicnism, the little demonic lies they're doing, and it's pathetic on that, right? When it's been shown that it's alleged that Austin Metcalf's father was a sexual assaulter. Oh my goodness. The father of Austin Metcalf was a sexual assaulter, and you get crooked from numbers of personnel within the economic culture about that. And it's even alleged that there possibly may have been some racial component to Austin Metcalf, perhaps on this, perhaps. And what's the Brother Jerome says, and then they have the audacity to say they're Christian family. Make it make sense. Well, here's the thing about Brother Jerome. It's like this. The madness. Let me show you this clip. It's funny, but it's not funny because you can sit there and be telling someone something, and they be doing just like this. So this thing about symbology. Just say like Brother Jerome, you sitting there telling them something. And imagine the symbology of this is what they would do.
Sorry, Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose.
What? Of course he was.
No, he wasn't. You lose.
Of course he was. He was the star.
No, you're wrong. Look it up.
I don't have to look it up. It's common knowledge. He was on the cover of People magazine when the movie. Everyone knows Kevin Bacon was the star of Footloose. It was a huge movie. He was the lead.
Right? It's funny, but it's not. Because that's exactly what certain ones within certain parts of the Paloma's culture do, right? They're hypocrites on this situation. It's despicable, but it is. Now, again, the thing about it is, as the other video I showed, you know what? Let me play this second video again of the hypocrisy on the day 2 for Casey, violent Caucasian teen Allison at Belton High School, where he put his little violent hands on a Hispanic teen, 18 years old at that time, 2022, on that part. So, well, here we go. Oh, well, Brother Jerome, buying you Karmelo's case was self-defense. Exactly. Which kind of ties into the excuses that you're going to hear on this second video that I'm going to sit there and show from the trial too. And again, I'm not going to play too much more on the show. I'm trying to keep it within a respectable length. But it's just the hypocrisy of this situation and the quietness from various personnel within the Paloma's culture and various parts of main media that they're not talking about, right? Of the Case and Allison situation. They're very quiet. Brother Jerome? Well, of course, it's pseudo guilt because sometimes, I'm pretty sure that you've had people where you're saying something to them and they're kind of lying. They look at you like, well, they're not lying, right? Unfortunately, and it's even 1,000 times astronomical when certain ones within certain parts of Paloma's culture, when they know they're lying, and they'll sit there like they're not lying. But here's the point: in this situation again, there is quietness on the Hispanic front, on especially certain numbers of Mexicans, right? They're very quiet on this as well, on that. Because it's like, oh my goodness, where's the outrage toward the numbers of Caucasian personnel? Oh my God, it's picking on numbers of Mexicans. See how that goes, right? Where is that? So let me play this one. Let me play this trial too on this. I mean, the hypocrisy is so ridiculous. It's almost like, are they real serious about this? And they really are. And here's the thing, they really do think black folks are stupid collectively, not to see through this game. But it shows you the powerlessness, even though the American blacks are the most openest people in America, even though American blacks are the most innovators in America, even though American blacks have the most inventions than anyone else besides certain ones within the Hispanic culture, and one number of them copied. Numbers of American blacks have served the military more than anybody else in America besides certain ones of Hispanic culture. Right? And numbers of American blacks allow certain ones of Hispanic culture to act like that they just arrived here. I mean, golly. I mean, the embarrassment of that. Because nobody can compare to American blacks in history. Nobody in America. Nobody. So, day 2. If I forget, make sure I got this correct. So let's make sure that's open. All right, let me play this. Now, this is, that you say, day 2, students who witnessed the deadly stabbing say Kyson Allison did not want to fight. Now, you see already where this is going. You know, like you're talking about the Karmelo Anthony situation. Well, he didn't want to fight either until Austin Metcalf put his little demonic hands first on Karmelo Anthony. You see this hypocrisy where it's going already.
He didn't want to fight. That's what he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight. That's what two former Belton High students said about Kason Allison in court today.
The trial of the suspect accused of stabbing and killing Joe Ramirez resumed this morning in Bell County, bringing 4 new witnesses to the stand.
News 10's Madison Herber has been in court all day and joins us live now with more on what was uncovered. Madison.
Good evening, Lauren and Gordon. The witnesses included 2 people who were former students that were in the bathroom the day that fight broke out, Tito Shamel and Angel Murillo. Shamel explained to the court that he was a good friend of Joe Ramirez and was in the bathroom with Ramirez and Allison when chaos ensued, and he even caught a portion of that altercation on video, which was shared today with the jury. And there was also a Belton Police Department detective who revealed the crime scene photos from that day. And then there was also a friend of Allison's and an acquaintance of Ramirez, Raina Barber. She took the stand and explained to the court how she was trying to calm Ramirez down just moments before the fight broke out. Now, the photos from the crime scene followed a trail of blood droplets around part of the school, leading to a pool of blood where Ramirez collapsed. The detective explained that it was after getting photos of the scene, he talked to a witness who provided a statement and video of the fight that started in the bathroom. Video was replayed from yesterday showing the school hallway where you see the boys entering the bathroom and then leaving sometime later in a rush. And then the short video caught on Shamel's phone of what happened on the other side of the door was played. Shamel explaining that what he caught on video shows Ramirez taking the first swing at Allison, and then you see Allison pull out the knife. First swing at Allison. What he caught on video shows Ramirez taking the first swing at Allison, and then you see Allison pull out the knife.
You see how they tried to minimize what Casey Allison did, right? That's what some people call white privilege, the one it applies to, right? He really didn't want to fight that Ramirez fellow. Ramirez was attacking him first. First of all, who told Casey Allison to bring that freaking knife to sit there to Belton High School in 2022? He was looking to do something, all right? But again, the hypocrisy by various ones within the Hispanic culture, because many people had not even saw this. And some of the ones who have saw this, right, it's still very small, right? And they trying to keep it this way. But this blurring out of hypocrisy with Karmelo Anthony of sitting there trying to protect his freaking self. But there is definitely jealousy, just like Brother Jerome, you was talking about how there is a video, but the police threatened those with jail if the video was released. See, how's that? It's like, how's that justice, right? How's that justice? Right? It's like, see, Brother Jerome said, Karmelo even cried and said, I told him not to touch me. I mean, that's the whole gigantic point. What part is like beyond logical sense? Karmelo Anthony tells him, do not touch him. Austin, do not touch him. And he did it anyway. Right? And I also I did a Pacific podcast on that part too. When I sit there and showing, a couple of different personnel that was sitting there showing these also legitimate videos and things like this, where that was sitting there showing that Austin Metcalf allegedly he was not some angelic person. He was not on that situation. So I did a whole podcast specifically on that as well. So, and it's like, but the hypocrisy is gigantic. But let me finish playing this. It's another couple of seconds on this I'll play. But you see on this situation with Casey Allison, how they trying to minimize this of him bringing a knife to Belton High School in 2022 and juked the Hispanic fellow. But he gets to have what? The humanness of the inclusion and say, oh, well, no, it's self-defense.
Before a loud scream is heard and the video cuts off. Barber said Allison didn't want to fight and just wanted to make it to graduation. Allison didn't want to fight and just wanted to make it to graduation. Barber said Allison didn't want to fight and just wanted to make it to graduation.
You see this? You see this demonism? Oh my goodness! Well, he didn't really want to fight, but he brought a freaking knife to school, right? But Karmelo Anthony sits there and brings a legal-sized pocket knife to the Frisco Texas track meet, right? Mind his freaking business, one swinging left and right, then pulling that out before nothing until Austin Metcalf put his assaulting hands on Karmelo Anthony first. And you got numbers of personnel within the culture playing naive and playing dumb. I mean, the pockets is blind. And unfortunately, again, this needs to be called out. But unfortunately, there are some coonish ones within certain parts of American Blackism who are also, I know, oh my goodness, well, why did he bring a knife? What part are you not getting on that? Ask everybody, how many people on that track meet? Oh, not one person had a legal-sized pocket knife nowhere. Nobody else had one. No one's had any type of pepper spray. Some people may say pepper spray is considered a weapon, right? Or they may have had something that was sharp inside of somebody's purse or someone's pocket, right? I'm just giving an example. Oh my goodness, he had a knife, a pocket-sized knife, a legal-sized knife. And they keep harping on that instead of saying, hold on, who told Austin Metcalf to put his assault hands on Karmelo Anthony first? Well, they refuse to sit there and get into that, right? Because they know how demonic it sounds. And you see on this video with Casey Allison, how they angelicizing him, right? And then humanizing him. Well, he didn't want to fight, but he brought a freaking knife. You know what? I'm just going to stop that right there. That's enough of that. I'm going to stop that. So, you know what? I even looked at these comments for this second one. I'm going to see right quick what the second. Oh, that's day one. Let me, day two. Let me make sure this is still up. I haven't even looked at the comments for day two. I just want to see just for the heck. Oh, I think I took it off. I just want to see what the comments on that day two one said, because I haven't even looked at those. This is for the heck of just to see. Hold on. Oh, what just happened? Hold on. Wait, see different things coming up here. Give me a second here. Give me 1 second here. I'm seeing a couple different things popping up on me here. Okay, I think I got it. I think I got it. Just want to make sure. Let me present this again. Share the screen. Day two. Okay, I think that pops up now. Okay, there we go. What just happened with that? No idea. So let me sit there and see what the second comment said. Why did he bring a knife? Make sure day two. Why did he bring a knife to school? He should be in prison. He's a murderer. Oh, and by the way, right? Because again, I want to play this whole video. The case in Allison 2022, after he brought a freaking knife to Belton High School and juked that Hispanic fellow, right? Normally juked him, normally brought a freaking knife, right? And then and people trying to utilize self-defense for Casey Allison, the hypocrisy on that I think they set a bail for less than $200,000 for normally bringing a freaking knife to Belton High School to juke that Hispanic fellow, and his bail was less than $200,000, right? And since 2022 until present or something like that, he was on basically house arrest. The freaking hypocrisy. But Karmelo Anthony's sister didn't normally bring a knife to sit there to the track meet, knowing he's gonna use it against someone, and he does self-defense and against someone against Austin Metcalf, right? To sit there and put his salted hands on Karmelo Anthony, and all of a sudden he gets arrested at $1 million bond. Boy, you don't. Boy, this is hypocrisy. It's boring. So comments, but Casey kept planning where they would fight, but he really did want to fight. How? Why isn't this getting publicity, you know the word, like Karmelo Anthony? Because it's on purpose. Oh, wow, they love to keep their dirt silent. Yes, everyone involved needs to be locked up. Wow, not one. Why did he have a knife comment? Yeah, the media is complicit in how stories are released. You would not see the rapid comments regarding this case. The country is in huge trouble. The division only getting stronger. Meanwhile, the upper echelon is laughing and getting richer. He didn't want to fight, but went to the bathroom with Joe, the Hispanic, knowing he had a knife in him. I'll tell you, it is the hypocrisy is blurring. So let me close this out. House school thing. Let me close this. Let me go back here. So yes, the hypocrisy is very real. Maybe until brought a knife because of violent. See what he was at stake. Oh, hold on, brother. Jerome said didn't want. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, get back. Brother Jerome talking about Casey did want to fight. They lying. What? Give me a second. They're. He said they're lying, right? And this is what they would be like. I mean, this is what like you would think, yo, really? Right? Yo, oh, you can't see that. Probably can't see that. Give me a second here. Right? It's like really, right? they think really black folks are so stupid on that, right? But see, they really do think black folks are stupid. I bet it was a state. No telling. Maybe Karmelo brought a knife because he was violent and harassed so many times. That's a that's a possibility as well. Because it was alleged that again there might have been some bullying toward him. I mean, this is use logical sense for a second. So Karmelo Anthony's sister brings a knife to a track meet, off campus track meet, right? Just for the heck of it. And he just all of a sudden gonna bring the knife, pocket knife, and knowing that, oh, he thought that maybe Austin Metcalf was gonna be there. Oh, I don't think so, right? And if he did, maybe he should have thought, hey man, well, just make sure. Again, I did a whole freaking podcast on that by some other personnel that presents information, and it's just mind-boggling. It's like information is right there. And again, various parts of main media, how quiet they are on this Casey Allison thing, right? Quiet they are. Quiet on this situation. And then numbers of Hispanics are not going off on numbers of Caucasians saying, oh my goodness, Caucasian people are violent. The one supplies to. Because Casey Allison, he sat there and knowingly brought a freaking knife to Belton High School in 2022 and juked the little Hispanic fellow, Ramirez, knowing he did that in his quietness. Just like, again, I did enough. I don't think I even, shucks. I don't know if I did that or not. I don't know if I played a clip. If I didn't, I'll play in a second. Where it shows how the hypocrisy in LA at this high school that happened December 2024, because I did a whole podcast on that, and that whole podcast is in the description of the link in there. And I'm gonna show us a few seconds of that. Oh crap, I think it went on. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Hold on, give me a second, Hero. Sorry about that. If you can hear me on that. Hello. Hello. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened to my power. I don't know what just happened. So let me go ahead and play. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what just happened. Karmelo Anthony, what does it say, Hero? Let me get this off. Get myself off here. What Brother Jerome says. Let's not forget, Karmelo Anthony was minding his business, trying to get out of the ring. I know. Hold on for a second. Hold on.
We were there. ABC 10 News reporter Ava Kirshner watched as the demonstration evolved and took on different forms throughout the night.
The colors red, white, and green have taken over Highland Avenue here in National City.
Okay, my system thing is freezing up, so I don't know what's going on. So actually, I'm going to play this one last video. Some things were getting froze up and things like this. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and play this video relating to the great Dr. Amos Wilson.
Implies then that no matter how much integration you may bring about, the feeling of inferiority must be a constant in the Black personality. No matter how many people you run for president, no matter how many mayors you get elected, no matter how many people you get on the board of IBM and the others, the basic sense of inferiority, the basic sense of dependency must remain a constant in the Black mind. And I will indicate this, and I think this study, which occurred now some 40 years later, shows this to be the case. Dr. Clark shows surprise that after all of this time, this feeling is still there. I would not, and I don't think any student who's basically looked at the necessity of Black people being out of their minds as being the foundation of European dominance would not be surprised. I think it was quite predictable. Remember, these children have this feeling of inferiority basically from the end of their second years. You can pick up this sense of inferiority as early as 3.5 years old. So it starts very early. And I'm still working through my mind the implications of that finding. We are talking about preschool children, not only children that are in school, but children who are having this feeling prior to school. This would, of course, indicate that to a degree that our environment is saturated with racism through TV, through the various media, through the pictures our walls, through the unconscious and conscious state, that influence the child's behavior and attitude starting in the womb itself. And I often start my developmental classes not with the prenatal period and how egg meets sperm, but with why do you have children in the first place? Because the reasons you have children will influence their development. It will influence them from the time they're in your womb until, of course, the day they die on this earth. It would indicate then that to a degree and in some way the Black community itself has been induced in helping to bring about a feeling of inferiority in its children. To a good extent, it is not so much the actions of racism that destroy us. The discrimination by white folk and Europeans, the kind of hatred that they express toward us as people that destroys us and gives us an inferiority complex. It is to a good degree how we as people react to these actions.
From the great Dr. Amos, Dr. Amos. And he's the greatness of him and his information and things like that. And what I want to do, some reason, like I said, my system was acting funny and everything. I wanted to show this last video that's also that I have attached the podcast itself that I was trying to show earlier until my system started freezing up and everything. I'm sorry about that. That the video I want to show, or at least a part of it, is in the description where I specifically did a video specifically of the hypocrisy-ness that was also not talked about as much as well. And let's see here. Let's see here. All right, here we go.
His skin color. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia joins us live from outside.
Skin. Make sure that's said correctly.
So, like I said, this is from the podcast I did that's inside the description about the black teen in LA that was racially attacked by numbers of Hispanics, and that one of them had a knife at this LA high school, and they tried to stab the black teen for no reason. And this is December 2024. And there was another type of attack toward the same black teen by numbers of Hispanics, numbers of Hispanic males at that same school many numbers of months before that, right? And this wasn't really talked about enough, right? But let me just play this part.
Law enforcement is still sorting out exactly what happened. The fight broke out a couple of weeks ago and 2 students were stabbed. The parent of the alleged victim says her son was assaulted because of his skin color. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia joins us live from outside the school in Tujunga with more clarification. Sid.
Guys, the family says they have filed a claim against the school district. That's the first step before filing a lawsuit. As you mentioned, the mother of the 14-year-old claims her son was assaulted because of the color of his skin.
My son, as stated, he was targeted, clearly targeted. He didn't deserve that. He was just trying to go to school, get his education like everybody else.
She didn't want to give her name out of concern for her safety. She says her 14-year-old son, a freshman at Verdugo Hills High School, was attacked twice because he's black. On the video released by her attorneys to Eyewitness News, it's been blurred because those involved are minors. The first alleged attack happened in August inside a school bathroom. On December 9th, the second alleged attack also happened on campus. One of the family attorneys describes what you're watching.
Where you see different boys who are not black, different boys who are not black.
Attorneys describes what you're watching.
Where you see different boys who are not black going after our client who is. He tries to defend himself. He's wearing a backpack. Not a very easy way to defend yourself in a fight.
It isn't shown on the video, but sometime after this alleged attack, there are allegations that 2 of the alleged attackers were stabbed. It's still being sorted out by law enforcement as to who may have stabbed whom. The teen who was allegedly attacked is due in juvenile court early next year.
You see the hypocrisy of this, right? Quietness by various ones within Panama-based culture on this. Quietness by numbers of Hispanics, right? On the outrage among themselves. Like, oh my goodness, that was wrong for that particular Hispanic or that particular Mexican person within Hispanicism to sit there and jump that black teen in LA, 14, 15 years old. He got jumped by a number of Hispanics, right? December 2024, the second time, and got jumped months before that. And then all of a sudden, one of the Hispanic teen boys or whoever pulled out a knife and was trying to juke the black teen, but for whatever reason, that two of the teens, they not saying which one, whoever it is, got stabbed. But the point is, the black teen didn't pull no knife out. Just pull a knife out. Is trying to figure out who to stab. He didn't even have a freaking knife. The Hispanic boy, one of the Hispanic boys brought a knife, right? At that LA school, on campus, high school, and was trying to juke the black teen who been minding his business, but it's quiet on this. The hypocrisy is very real. So that's all I want to show these things a little bit. And I dislike that. I sit there and my system had froze up for a little bit of time. So some things I think I was showing, maybe it was going through, it wasn't, stuff like that. But for the main part, it was shown enough. So I just wanted to just recap on this for finish up. The hypocrisy of that. You got numbers of ones within the Panama-based culture that are going back crazy of sitting there where they want Karmelo Anthony to be castrated, basically. They want him to be lynched. They want to be locked away for a long time. And the stabbing of Austin Metcalf. You know, Austin Metcalf Metcalf put his hands on Karmelo Anthony first. Karmelo Anthony put his hands on, Austin Metcalf put his hands on Karmelo Anthony first when Karmelo Anthony told him do not put his hands on him right at that Frisco, Texas track meet. But he did it anyway. And you got numbers of personnel with Hispanic culture and various other ones too, they want to be like them. And some coons, unfortunately, within certain parts of American Blackism, and some ones have skin of black, but they don't, anyway, they don't associate with black folks unless they want to be black when they want to be black. The ones applies to the hypocrisy of this, right? So Karmelo Anthony can't sit there. He could not sit there and defend himself, and he just happened to have a pocket tool on him, pocket knife, legal size tool. Let's say show something totally damn different, and watch overall how that's not going to be showing anything. So he's not supposed to protect himself, but at the same damn time, he's supposed to get this beat down by Austin Metcalf. They're supposed to get beat down by the other twin. They were damn sure bigger than him, play football, right? Too. Karmelo Anthony played football, but was a little shorter, a little bit lighter. But Austin Metcalf putting his hands on Karmelo Anthony, right? And it's alleged that perhaps even the other twin was putting some hands on Karmelo Anthony as well. But he's supposed to fight him up with his dukes, right? Not defend himself, right? Well, he had a pocket knife. And, hey, these two people attacking me. Right? He got a right to defend himself, right? He had a pocket knife. He had a right to defend himself. But at the same time, the Casey Allison situation that happened in 2022, you had a Caucasian teen, about 18 at that time, brought a knife, knowing he's going to get in a damn fight with Ramirez, the little Hispanic fellow at Belton High School. They went into the bathroom, a knife, Casey Allison, the little violent Caucasian teen, he brought a knife out, juked Ramirez inside of Belton High School. He brought a knife to Belton High School, 2022, went to the bathroom, sit there, didn't put his dukes up with Ramirez, right? They didn't duke it out, and whoever wins, whoever lose, and gone about their business. No, he pulls out a knife, Casey Allison and the Caucasian team, and jukes the Hispanic, and unfortunately later on the Hispanic personnel became deceased. But you didn't hear no gigantic uproar from those the ones within the Panamanian culture saying, oh my goodness, yes, it was self-defense. Yes, it was self-defense. Yes, Casey Allison, he didn't want to fight. It was self-defense. Nope, because it's like a naturalness. It's almost like accepted. Yeah, we know it was self-defense. We don't need to talk about that. You see the hypocrisy of that. Numbers of Hispanic version, numbers of the Mexicans. You didn't hear numbers of them jumping up and down in a situation about, oh my goodness, Ramirez, he didn't bring a knife there. He wasn't looking for a fight on that campus at Belton High School, right? They didn't sit there and say, oh my goodness, Casey Allison, he stabbed the little Hispanic Mexican Ramirez. I'm tired of these numbers of Caucasians picking on numbers of Mexicans. You didn't hear no kind of conversation. Nope. Right? Then all of a sudden, you got, again, the podcast I did specifically on this. The black teen, 14, 15 years old at a LA high school, right? And he getting picked on by numbers of Hispanics, numbers of Mexicans, right? And that's happened December 2024, which is the second time. Numbers of Hispanic people were sitting there trying to attack the little fellow, the little black fellow, mind his freaking business. One of them pulled out a knife, was trying to juke the black team. For whatever reason, that knife, however, whoever picked it up, whatever it is, all of a sudden, however, two teams were stabbed. And the crazy part, right now, here it is. Now, the black team, he's sitting there trying to do self-defense. So no one knows if he picked the knife up and was trying to do self-defense. Who knows what happened, right? The whole point is he didn't have the knife. He didn't bring one to sit there and try to use against the numbers of Hispanics. Whoever the Hispanic Mexican fellow brought the knife to on school campus in one of those LA schools to use against the black teen. And that was the second time they was trying to jump him. So that was brown against black hate. That was brown. What that's supposed to damn mean, first of all, because you got black people know the black people that have brown skin. That was numbers of Hispanic Mexicans against black American. Where's the outrage at that? You see the hypocrisy. I thank you for tuning in to the real CP show. The hypocrisy is blurring in so many areas of this. Casey Allison gets to sit there, people pleading for him. That was self-defense, that he was trying to protect himself with a knife at Belton High School against a little Hispanic fellow. Bring the knife to high school, went to the bathroom, got into a fight with the Hispanic Ramirez, but he wasn't required. But Casey Allison, the little violence Anglo Teen, he wasn't required to sit there and put his dukes up. You see how this hypocrisy is, right? But Karmelo Anthony, he should put his dukes up by bigger, taller Austin Metcalf, who put his hands first on Karmelo Anthony, but he's supposed to put his dukes up. And then it's alleged that perhaps even the other twin might have been, assisting and jumping on Karmelo Anthony. You see how this goes, right? And so he's supposed to not have any rights, Karmelo Anthony, to defend himself. And he had to have a pocket knife, but he's not supposed to have a right to defend himself. So he's not supposed to sit there and claim self-defense, right? But at the same time, Casey Allison, who knowingly brought a damn knife to a campus high school, not off campus, on campus school, used it against a little Hispanic fellow, knowingly did that, and oh my goodness, well, that's self-defense. Boy, numbers of ones within the palm-based culture, there's some derangement the one this applies to. It's okay for numbers of them to sit there and self-defense that Zimmerman in Florida can follow Trayvon Martin, a little teenager, 16, 17, whatever he was, teenager, that was just visiting down in Florida, and was minding his business walking back, and by his actions, anti-American black Zimmerman, white Hispanic, by the way, Zimmerman was white Hispanic, followed Karmelo Anthony, the black teen, on some kind of, he was a community watch type personnel. He was told not to follow Trayvon Martin. He was told not to follow Trayvon Martin. He was told not to follow Trayvon Martin. He did anyway. And all of a sudden you hear a boom, 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 right? And all of a sudden Trayvon Martin was deceased. And he sits there and Zimmerman gets acquitted of that. Millions were raised up for him, for his defense. People don't, ones that were within Panama's culture, the ones applies to, they didn't say, oh, well, what else he doing with his money? Nope. Right? Rittenhouse, whatever his name was, right? Knowingly brought an AR, whatever style, boom boom piece of equipment, shot several people, right? Did that, knowingly did that. It was related, he may have crossed state lines, did that, raised up millions amount of resources for his defense, right? And you don't hear numbers of people jumping them down from gigantic amount, Panama-based culture ones, jumping them down saying, what did he do with millions of that? Dylan Roof and his little sorry ass cowards. Dylan Roof, the little Caucasian guy, Caucasian male, grown ass male, sneaks behind. He's supposed to be a veteran, right? Caucasian veteran, sneaks behind the black male, Jordan Neely, chokes him out. Not far after that, he becomes deceased. At the same damn time, oh, that was self-defense. What? That claiming of for Daniel Penny, even though they had a white Hispanic as well that was helping out and another fellow, and they was able to claim self-defense and have millions of dollars raised for them. And you have numbers of people within various parts of anonymous culture, they ain't got a problem with that. But Karmelo Anthony, practicing self-defense, he happened to have a pocket knife, legal-sized pocket knife in him. He defends himself against Austin Metcalf, the Caucasian teen in Frisco, Texas, who put his hands at that track meet on Karmelo Anthony, right? And he was told by Karmelo Anthony, do not put his hands on Karmelo Anthony. And Austin Metcalf did anyway. And he got juked. He lost his life. And you got numbers of people within the anonymous culture losing, the ones that's prostitute losing, numbers of ones within the anonymous culture losing their freaking mindset. So Karmelo Anthony can't claim self-defense, and it was self-defense. But Casey Allison, the Caucasian teen in Belton High School, stabs a Hispanic teen, normally brought a knife to school property in Belton High School, but can claim self-defense. And numbers of ones within various parts of anonymous culture don't say nothing about that. You see the hypocrisy of this. The little black teen up there in LA at the high school, 14, 15 years old, gets jumped on 2 different occasions by numbers of Hispanics. One of those times, a knife was produced out by one of the Hispanic boys, trying to juke the little black boy for no reason. Right? Now, again, one Hispanic brought a knife on campus at the LA high school, or wanted to juke the black teen for no damn reason. Black teen self-defense, quietness on that by various ones within the Panama-based culture on that situation, right? And even though, unfortunately, it was numbers of Hispanic teens, mostly going to be Mexican teens, trying to jump on that black teen, that they're quiet as well on that, about the self-defense of that black teen was trying to do. But unfortunately, the black teen gets arrested for sitting there trying to protect himself too. The hypocrisy is very real. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.